Good morning, the Bromfields in the 35 corridor. I'm D. Lee Edwards here, the host of the Real Deal Real Estate Show, and today's special guest is Steve Rogers, Managing Director of Sperry Van Ness Traditions, commercial broker handling sales, leasing, management, and more. We'll be chatting about all things commercial, but first it's time for the Bromfields Title Market Report. Today we're looking at Hays County, and sales over the last 90 days were up to 1,110. That's a great number. But in the last 30 days, that number dropped to 345, which was below the June's high of 363. Availability is still strong in Hays County with 1,462 homes on the market with one under 200,000, go figure. 55 from 300 to 400,000, 372 homes from 300 to 400,000, 285 homes from 400 to 500,000, and drum roll, 755 homes over 500,000. Now, the rental market is soft as well, with 346 homes on the market in Hays County. That is 3 times the normal average in Hays for rentals, and that's without the apartment count. So the real tough part is 53 are under $1,950 a month. 294 are over $2,000. Now, the mortgage would stay fairly stable, this rate. That's the mortgage rate. 30-year conventional was down to 6.9 for, maybe half a minute, and then it came up 6 basis points back to 7%. 15-year came in at 6.32, and FHA was down to 6.52. Look for it to creep back up as well. The bond market stayed stable as the 91-day T-bill yield was at 5.21, the 2-year at 4.862, and the 10-year at 3.834. That new home start that everybody had happy news about in June, everybody was warm and fuzzy. Nationally, it declined 8% in the last month. And our area has not seen that steep a decline in our subdivisions. In fact, some of them have opened up 1 or 2 extra units to try to push back out. And that's pushing our inventory up, which is causing prices to adjust downward. The real analysis in this market is normalizing back to the 120 days on market. So I want you to pay attention. We're talking about housing being normal, not lots of multiple offers, and on the market for 90 days, and actually buyers trying to negotiate your price. Yeah, and they are doing it. Nationally, prices rose 8%. Our market in Hays County, the opposite. See, in 2023 versus 2022, we've had a significant drop in sales price. As of today, sale price average in Hays County is $503,000. Last year, it was $571,000. And that is a 12.5% drop. Now, if we look at the median, well, it was 440 versus 400 on the median. Still a pretty big chunk of a drop. So look for that to, kind of change our attitude on pricing. If you haven't noticed, apartment construction hasn't stopped, and that's bad news for landlords. Folks looking for rentals under $1,900 are driven to apartments and their amenities, and they're adding garages and storage and gyms and other little activities, while us landlords with regular houses, we just got to hope you want to mow the yard. Okay, and look for that to have an impact on rental rates. Oil prices pulled back a little this week on Thursday, and then late Thursday took a run back up. We're now at $76 a barrel, just slightly ahead of last week. Renewable diesel, biodiesel, the stuff made out of soybean and canola. Did you know there's only 6 states that manufacture that, and 1 state that uses 94% of all of it? And it's not us. It's California. Yep. And since 2011, they passed that low E emission standard. They have been sucking up the entire volume. And if you think e-fuel is going to be the answer, then we need to invest in about, 30 more plants. And by the way, there are none in Texas. I wonder if the oil companies are keeping it out. Now, the stock market ran up this week, and boy, did they finally get to going. We got the Dow up to 35,303, the NASDAQ to 14,155, and the S&P hit 4550. We got to go back to April 2022 to see numbers this good. So that's kind of nice. Tesla rolls out the Cybertruck in Austin with demand they say is so far out you can't even see it. At least 5 years to meet all of the orders they have currently. But then Tesla stock took a pullback. What's up with that? Well, because Elon just didn't speak with lots of confidence, and everybody got nervous. And so he lost 8% on stock value in about an hour and a half. Look for him to gain all of that back and more in the next couple of weeks as they start to fill those orders. Several economists say that inflation is still not in control, though it's slowed. The Fed still wants to hit interest rates and look for them to hit us a quarter in the next month. And according to Société Générale, Koku Agbo-Bloua said that on Thursday that all of this fear about the end of inflation, well, it is an end. It is the end of the beginning of inflationary recession. Well, he may have that opinion, but there's a lot of others that say we're not going to hit recession at all. So, home prices are down. Sales declined slightly. Mortgage rates fairly stable. Bond market adjusting. Oil up. Stock market up. And the heat? Well, gosh, we're down 5 degrees. So we've had a cold front move in. We're only 102 today versus 108. So let's stay cool this weekend, and let's see if we can't find some good deals in real estate. And that's the real deal for July 22nd, 2023. Now, don't go away. We'll be right back with our special guest on the Real Deal Real Estate Show, Steve Rogers of Sperry Van Ness Traditions, and we're going to talk about all things commercial. You're listening to the Real Deal Real Estate Show on KGMB 1420 AM and 103.1 FM. And we're back on the Real Deal Real Estate Show, and our special guest is Steve Rogers, Managing Director for Sperry Van Ness Traditions. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing well, Mr. Edwards. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Good.
And as a reminder to our listeners out there, this segment is brought to you by Meyer Heating and Air Conditioning, keeping you comfortable all year long. So you were with another company and you went out and formed Sperry Van Ness Traditions. Is that right?
I was on my own for a while with Rogers Commercial Realty, and then a couple of years ago, I had the opportunity to purchase the. It's actually, I have to correct you on the name. It's SVN, Traditions. The Sperry Van Ness part of it is no longer applicable, so it's just SVN Traditions, and that's going back to our Aggie roots with the traditions part. So I had to make that little plug.
Well, that's good. So tell us a little bit about your company and what all you do.
We do strictly commercial. We don't do any residential. We, at this point, don't do any multifamily. We just stay strictly with the commercial side of the business, office, retail, industrial, some land, again, commercial. We do brokerage, investment sales. We do leasing as well as property management. We try to do kind of just full service commercial real estate services.
We understand that completely.
I know you do.
Now, what is your experience currently on where you see the demand most often? Are you seeing more interest in retail than industrial? Are you seeing an even amount of industrial and retail inquiry? If so, is there a shortage of product? Kind of where we at there?
Certainly, industrial and retail seem to be obviously the two strongest product product types that are in demand. As far as leasing is concerned, we don't have as properties as spaces come on the market. They're leased pretty quickly. Can't say the same thing about office, but retail and industrial, we do need certainly industrial. The small spaces for industrial we seem to be lacking inventory there.
So in that industrial, so if we're talking about that, are we talking about things that are in the 1,500 to 2,500 square feet are getting demand, or are we talking 9,000 square foot of building, or?
You can, I mean, we can lease things up, in that 5 to 10,000 square foot range, with a little bit of, 10, 15, 20% office, front office, and then the balance warehouse. Especially if you've got some kind of yard space and things like that, it's pretty easy to get those leased up.
How much yard space are they looking at? Say you got a 5,000 square foot building. Mm-hmm. How much yard do they want in something like that?
It's flexible as far as what we've seen is, again, if you can somehow control, have a fenced area, a yard area from for the back for shared use, but especially if it's a multi-tenant industrial building, we just as long as there's some maneuverability with trucks for loading and unloading, especially the smaller spaces, bobtail trucks and your electricians, your plumbers, those folks that need to be able to store, first of all, park their trucks back there secured, but also load and unload during the day.
So you would say that if they had space for 10 to 15 vehicles.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
With a 5,000, that'd probably be about right.
Be about right, yeah.
A lot of the industrial are 9,000 square foot building, but it's been cut up into four, so you're basically at about 2,300 square feet per, and they got 4 parking spaces out front.
Yeah.
And that just barely takes care of the working person.
Absolutely. Yeah, those are tougher to move.
Makes it challenging.
Very much so.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, on the retail side, we've seen a fair amount of development of retail. We still have demand, but price-wise, we've seen a lot of distance or disparity between. I mean, some places, I guess you're seeing $24 a foot, and now in some of the new construction, we're seeing numbers in the 30s.
38 is the last one. One was quoted. I had a tenant that was looking for some retail space. And got quoted $38 a square foot plus triple net with a $30 tenant improvement allowance for shelf space.
How much allowance on the shelf?
$30.
Man, that's not bad. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've seen some as high as 40.
I've seen 50. And again, this is just in the past week, which again the activity has we were talking before we came on air. The activity has picked up significantly in the last 2 or 3 weeks.
It has. I think commercial took a lull right after Christmas, and it took kind of a 4-month, 5-month, 6-month hiatus while I was thinking to see what the economy was going to do. You mentioned office earlier, that office has been a challenge in some cases, that there's some vacancies. But on the other hand, have you seen that there's maybe some sweet spots that maybe the office is too big or too large? I mean, are you seeing a difference between doctors looking for 2,000 to 2,500, which we're growing in the medical side.
Yes.
But general office, where you've got somebody using 10 offices with a company, is the hard spot. What are you seeing there?
The bigger spaces are slower to move. Anything less than 3,000 square feet, they tend to move fairly quickly, no matter the actual use. If it's general office, medical office, anything, the sweet spot for this market seems to be, that 1,500 to 2,000 square foot office space. You can move those all day long. You can move them second generation space, $22, $24 a square foot plus triple net. You get up in that 3,000 square foot range. I've got, again, as we were talking earlier, I've got 4 or 5 of those spaces that are on the market in various different, one or some are first generation shell spaces with tenant improvement allowances being offered, and others are second gen or somebody spec'd it out. Those have been hard to move.
We're starting to see now, because of our growth, right, between 100, we're headed toward 120,000 in population, where the community is really, before we were bifurcated, you were either east of the I or west of the I, and now we've got a very distinctive downtown market. We have a very distinctive Oak Run, Veramendi market. And then you've got Creekside. But then slowly but surely, because of the population base, we're probably going to have a bigger surge in retail for the Klein Zip Road area at some point in time, don't you think?
I do, and you talk 46 going towards Seguin. That's obviously growing significantly. You've got, I mean, even the 725 South Seguin, corridor growing as far as again the Klein Road area, things like that. 306 at Common, you've got that retail going up there, and all that stuff going towards I-35. Again, that's where I ran across that $38 a foot number.
Well, we
retail.
had 36 or 38 at the intersection of Oak Run and Oak Run Parkway and Loop 337. That new center was the first one really to break ground in that 30 and up range.
Right, and downtown, we've seen some new development downtown around the plaza that they're in the north. They're in the high 30s for office space.
Right,
and my understanding is they're getting it.
Yeah, there have. I think there was one down there that tried to get something in the 40 or 50 range, but it hasn't quite got that done
The
yet.
ink isn't dry yet.
Yeah, that's a pretty stiff number to take.
It really is.
You got to be an end user just about, and
Yeah.
instead of paying that dollar, you might want to just buy the building. You know?
Yep.
So, all right. So if you had an investor out there that was looking to build something at this time, what would be your first inclination?
Certainly, these neighborhood retail centers. They're, again, demand is high. If you can find the dirt, and that's obviously the challenge, finding the dirt and finding the dirt at the right price.
That works within the performance.
Exactly, at the right price. That's step one, and that's a hard step because the price of dirt. We used to be shocked at $17, $18 a square foot for frontage, but now we're in the mid to high 20s per square foot,
depending on location.
Oh,
I guess
absolutely.
you said,
Yeah.
and so I think if you're on a main thoroughfare, you've got to be prepared to be 15 to 25, depending on location.
Absolutely.
And then if you're in a burgeoning or a developing area, you may still see 6, 8, 9, depending on
and also depending on infrastructure. What do you have there? What if are the utilities there in place, or they have to bring the services to you, things of that nature, and then we can start talking about impact fees and things of that nature that have
rezoning.
Exactly. Which you're more familiar with that than I am. So.
People go, gotta stop this growth. All the growth you're seeing right now was put on the books 2 years ago. So trust me,
they're trying.
Be a lot different.
That's right.
Yeah. So we're about out of time in this segment talking with Steve Rogers of SVN Traditions. If you were looking to put in, say, a restaurant, or you were going to put in industrial, where are some of the places in our community where you see demand for location-wise that would be something people ought to take a look at or look at investing?
Well, I certainly don't want to exclude areas, but again, that 306, we're very, very close to that 306 and Common area. That's again, you've got that retail going up there, lots of restaurants going in there. Obviously, the Torchy's Tacos and Jersey Mike's and all of that. Again, those folks not wanting to cross that 35, traffic. Because of traffic reasons,
right.
And so that's obviously an area that people have seemed to have switched to the what I call the northwest side of 35 on 306, right. Going out west on 46 towards Bulverde and that area. That's gotten a lot of attention, certainly again on the retail side, but there's some office developers that have put some product on the ground on that side of town. And then, of course, again, you're familiar with the stuff that, they're on Oak Run Parkway and things like that with some of the office condos. Medical office has become pretty popular in that area as well. So those are a couple of the areas. And again, the 46 going towards Seguin, I understand there's going to be some significant highway
big improvements
there that hopefully will alleviate some of that pain.
I think you may see sooner or later Barbarossa's got to develop some retail so on, take pressure off that sour, that kind of area. So there's lots of area development. Well, really, thank you for coming out. Here's the message to get for this is that we're in a cycle right now where we've built a lot of population. And now, because we have the population, business will come here. If you've been waiting for Trader Joe's, if you're waiting for that kind of thing, your population has to hit their demographics.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So thank you for coming out. Again,
Thanks for having me.
Steve Rogers, Managing Director of SVN Traditions. How can people get a hold of you if they want to reach you?
Our phone number, 830-500-3787. They can go to svntraditions.com and just look us up that way.
Well, good. Glad to have you on. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Lee.
All right, we'll be right back after a few words from our sponsors. You're listening to the Real Deal Real Estate Show on KGNB 1420 AM and 103.1 FM. And we're back on the Real Deal Real Estate Show, and it's time for Lee's Hot Pick of the Week, brought to you by Bubba's Smoked Meats and Fancy Sauces. And, of course, Bubba's Backyard for weekend pleasure out toward Canyon Lake. Now, we've got a special in Hays County this week. 108 Linden is a 5-bedroom, 3-bath family home in the Trace. Makes it really convenient to get over to New Braunfels and San Marcos to the university. It's a great location if you're a commuter going 20 or 30 miles any direction. It's been fabulously updated from its new condition. It's only 2 years old. And they've had price improvement, not counting the fact they've added pergola, upgraded utilities as far as their lighting and other features in the home, and they've dropped the price to amazing $148 a square foot. That's right, $394,000 for 3,700 square foot of home. You can't beat it. It's a 3 jalapeno deal. Won't last long. Now, we're digging for others, and next week we'll have 2 or 3 good hot picks as we look at the consolidated area around the Braunfels. We're going to look at Hays comparison to Guadalupe and to Comal, which we do about, every 3 months. So you can really see how the market's prepared. And next week, we're going to be talking pools with Lone Star Pool Company. So until next week, I'm D. Lee Edwards for the Real Deal Real Estate Show, telling you to listen in every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. on KGNB 1420 AM and 103.1 FM. Till next Saturday, I'm D. Lee Edwards saying good day, New Braunfels, and good investing.